Audit day never arrived with a bang. It came quietly on a Tuesday morning, marked on calendars and underpinned by checklists and expectations. Milo, our head of IT, adjusted the ID badge on his lapel as he stepped into the main conference room. His posture was calm, his stride steady. His feline eyes, sharp and perceptive, scanned the room. Today wasn't about theories or promises, it was about proof. Giant screens around the room glowed with intricate diagrams, the company's network architecture, detailed access control matrices, precise backup schedules, and exhaustive incident logs. Across the long, polished table sat the auditors. Their laptops were open, their expressions neutral, their pens ready. They were the arbiters of trust, the validators of process. The lead auditor looked up, his voice even. "Milo, thank you for joining us. Let's begin. Please walk us through your access management process." Milo stood a quiet confidence in his movement as he walked toward the main screen. He didn't just speak, he demonstrated it. "Our approach is built on 3 core pillars," he began, his voice clear and measured. First, role-based access control. No one gets a key they don't absolutely need for their job. He gestured to a matrix on the screen, showing color-coded access levels for different departments. Each role has a predefined set of permissions, reviewed and approved by department heads. Second, we enforce the principle of least privilege. Even within a role, access is granular. An employee in finance who handles accounts payable can't see payroll data. It's that simple, and it's enforced automatically. He brought up a live system, showing how an attempt to access an unauthorized file would be immediately blocked and logged. And third, he continued, multi-factor authentication is mandatory for all privileged accounts and remote access. A password is not enough. A second factor, typically from a registered device, is required. This drastically reduces the risk of unauthorized access from compromised credentials. He didn't just tell them this. He showed them. He pulled up logs, pointing to timestamps and user IDs. He demonstrated the audit trails, showing a complete, unbroken chain of who accessed what, when, and from where. There was no theory, only evidence. Every claim was backed by data. One of the junior auditors leaned forward, intrigued. "This is comprehensive. But what about when things go wrong? Can you explain your incident response protocol?" A faint, knowing look crossed Milo's face. "Of course." He switched the display to the incident report from the recent cybersecurity event, the one we covered in our last episode. The screen filled with a detailed timeline. It started with the initial alert at 2:13 a.m. It showed the automated containment protocols, kicking in just seconds later, isolating the affected systems. It detailed the human response, the analysis, the eradication of the threat, and the system recovery. "Here," Milo said, pointing to a specific section, "is our root cause analysis. And here are the remediation steps we took, not just to fix the immediate problem, but to strengthen our defenses against similar attacks in the future." The auditors murmured among themselves, impressed by the transparency and the thoroughness of the response. What could have been a point of failure was instead a demonstration of resilience. The silence in the room was no longer one of scrutiny, but of acknowledgement. They moved on. Backup and recovery. Milo showed them the schedules, the successful restoration tests, the off-site and immutable copies. We test our backups quarterly by performing full restores in an isolated environment. A backup you haven't tested is just a hope. He pulled up the latest test report, stamped with a green successful status, data retention policies. He showed how data was classified upon creation and how automated policies ensured it was archived or securely deleted according to regulatory requirements. No manual intervention, no human error. The system just worked. By 11:42 a.m., they had reached the end of their exhaustive checklist. The lead auditor closed his laptop with a soft click. "Milo," he said, breaking the silence, "your documentation is immaculate, and your implementation is robust. We have a few minor recommendations for enhancing your log monitoring dashboards, but we have found no critical or major non-conformities." He offered a slight nod, a small gesture that carried immense weight. "Congratulations to you and your team. You've passed." The tension in the room evaporated. Compliance wasn't a monster to be feared. It was a framework that, when embraced, made the entire organization stronger, safer, and more trustworthy. It wasn't about passing a test. It was about proving you had done the work all along. That evening, as Milo got home, his young kitten Pixel trotted up to him, tail twitching with curiosity. "How was work? Did the visitors like your computers?" Milo leaned down and gently scratched behind Pixel's ears. A soft smile formed on his face. "They didn't have to like them," he replied softly. "They trusted them. And that's what matters most. And that's the real story of compliance. It's not about the stress of the audit. It's about the peace of mind that comes from being prepared. It's the quiet confidence that your systems, your processes, and your team are ready for whatever comes next." Thanks for watching. If you found this look into the world of IT helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories from the digital front lines. See you in the next one.